and welcome to Leading Entrepreneurs of the World. I'm Stelios Hatzakis, CEO of One Business World. Leading Entrepreneurs of the World features entrepreneurs, founders, and business leaders presenting on cutting-edge topics and the latest industry developments. Today, we're very pleased to welcome global entrepreneur Shiv Gupta. Shiv Gupta is the co-founder and CEO of Iesoft Technologies. Shiv has 21 plus years of experience in handling various leadership roles in companies like Motorola, Globallogic, Riverrun Software and Innominds. For the past 9 years, Shiv has been running his own very successful company, Iesoft Technologies, which is a boutique software services and products company with a global presence. Iesoft has some of the top Fortune 500 companies as clients and helps various small and large companies in digital transformation, leveraging web, cloud, and mobile technologies. Iesoft leverages expertise in ML and AI technologies to develop innovative and breakthrough products, among which is My Money Souk, a platform to discover and compare various financial products in the MENA region. My Money Souk is one of the leading platforms of its type, with more than 1 million visitors to its site. Other platforms that Iesoft has developed are platforms that focus on market intelligence and insights from various e-commerce websites. Shiv, it's great to have you here with us today to hear more about fintech and banking trends as they have emerged as a result of COVID-19 and everything that we have experienced in the past year. Welcome to Leading Entrepreneurs of the World.
Thank you, Stelios. It has been a pleasure interacting with you, and I look forward to the presentation. Hi, everyone. As Stelios introduced me, I'm Shiv Gupta. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Iesoft Technologies. We are a boutique products and services company. One of the products that we have is My Money Souk. My Money Souk is a financial aggregator and a platform to search financial products like credit cards, loans, insurance, and many other things. It's also a platform to learn many financial concepts. We have more than 200 blogs and videos, which you can look at the website. The topic for today that I want to share some of my views are related to fintech and banking. COVID has been an unprecedented event, as we know, and one of the profound effects of COVID has been on the fintech and banking sectors. We interact with a lot of fintech companies. We interact with a lot of banks in the region, and I would like to, share some of my insights and some of the things that I believe are taking place in and around the sector. So, starting with the agenda, this is a brief agenda. This is going to be around 30 minutes discussion. I would like to start with something about digitization, which has taken the industry by storm. It is not an option right now. Everybody has to adopt digitization. The extent of it matters, and the agility with which the people adopt digitization, that matters. So I'm going to go through some of the quotes from industry leaders and what people in general feel about this particular thing. The second thing I would like to go through is the challenges facing the banking industry. As we discussed, the impact of COVID has been unprecedented, and we will discuss, what are the key challenges the banking industry faces. And with the challenges, there comes opportunities. The third most important thing is the consumer behavior. Consumer behavior has gone through a paradigm shift post-COVID. Consumers don't go to banks now. They work through digital channels. So this has been a challenge both for banks and consumers. And what are the key impact of consumer behavior on banking that I would like to discuss. Post that, I would definitely like to list down a few digital trends of future that are going to be there. We have heard a lot about them, but I would just like to present 4 to 5 trends that I believe are going to dominate the market going forward. To end with, I would like to have 2, 3 very interesting case studies, one in the MENA region, one in the Europe, and another related to Google plus different banks. So that's going to be the brief agenda that I'm going to be discussing today. So these are some of the quotes from the industry leaders. To start with, from Satya Nadella, who is the CEO of Microsoft. Satya Nadella says we have seen 2 years worth of digital transformation in 2 months. And that is absolutely true. The pace of digital transformation has been unprecedented. There were leaders who believed that digital transformation will take place in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Now that is not an option. People have to adopt it. Only the pace matters. The second one is from Brett King. He is a great fintech influencer, and I absolutely agree with his comment that the number one bank in the future may be a technology company. And a lot of you may relate to this. A few years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, people used to say that the number one commerce company may be a technology company, and we all know how Amazon has grown across last few years, and it's the de facto choice for e-commerce in the region. So the same thing may be true going forward with banking, and we are already seeing signs of it. From John Chambers, at least 40% of all businesses will die in the next 10 years if they don't figure out how to change their entire company. That's very true, especially during COVID times. They have to reinvent, otherwise people will fail, companies will fail. We are already seeing those signs, So if you the ones who are older like me, we used to have cassettes and CDs and other stuff. We don't see we don't see those cameras and other things. Those things are of the past. Similarly, we are seeing an unprecedented trend in which your mobile phone is your bank branch. You don't go to bank branch nowadays. Another quote is from MIT Sloan and Capgemini. 90% of the CEOs believe that the digital transformation is going to be the future, but less than 15% are executing as a digital strategy. So there's a lot of belief and conviction that digital transformation is going to be the future, but from an action point of view, a lot of people are lacking that. And from the industry leader in data, SAP, less than 1% of data in the business is analyzed and turned into benefits. This definitely tells that what is the scope of opportunities that is left. If there is 99% data, which through which we can run insights and run machine learning, AI, these will finally turn into insights and actions, which a lot of companies can benefit from. And the pace of data generation has increased maybe 100x in the last 5 years. So definitely a lot of action that companies need to take from the data generated. One of the particular case studies that come to my mind is how Netflix has been successful. They analyze a lot of data, viewing data, when somebody started a movie, when somebody paused, which they liked, when they started, I'm going to press on the next button to watch the next clip, and all those things. All this data is analyzed, and that's makes the recommendation engine one of the best in the industry. And last but not the least, Jeff Bezos, who revolutionized the industry with Amazon. He says it to everybody's face that in today's era of volatility, there's no other way but to reinvent. The only sustainable advantage you can have over others is agility. That's it. Because nothing else is sustainable. Everything else you create, somebody else will replicate. And we have seen this with Apple. I remember, we were, Motorola and Nokia were leaders in smartphone market. in the decade of 2000 to 2010. And they never believed that, a new company will come and, sweep the whole market, and the pace with which they were innovating was not enough. And Apple came, and, right now you hear about Apple and Samsung, but we don't hear much about, Nokia and Motorola. So I think adaptability is the key, agility is the key. Looking forward to future leveraging digital capabilities is definitely the key. It's not a question of if now, it is when and how. How best you do that transformation, that is what matters. Coming to the next slide, I would like to list down some of the key challenges the banking industry or the fintech industry faces. Uh, Definitely post COVID, there has been a slower economic activity. We have seen companies' GDPs, go down 25%, 10%, 30%. So there has been a lot of less economic activity, and it has impacted huge industries, airline industries, hospitality industry, hotel industry, to name a few. And there's a huge loss in revenues, and this all impacts resulting in bad loans. This is one of the major impacts of COVID on the banking industry. Because of the lower economic activity, people doing less transactions, people doing less payments, there has been a lower non-interest revenues also. So that has also been a major impact. Apart from that, right now in the economy, there are lower interest rates. So they are here to stay. So we shouldn't believe that they are going to go away with the Fed pumping all the money. Lower interest rates are going to stay, and that is putting strain on the profitability. And the other thing is that and the banking and fintech companies now, they need to focus on technology, they need to focus on digitization. So that's another expense they have to bear. That's another front they have to fight battle on. Digital channels have become primary means of doing business. So they need to put their efforts on leadership in technology, reducing consumer friction. These are the areas where they need to focus on. The other thing that banks and fintech companies have been facing is changes in customer behavior. Overnight, if you can see, there has been an unprecedented change in customer behavior. People are not going to banks. So people have been primarily interacting through digital channels, maybe mobile channels, websites, phone calls, chat bots. That's where they need to understand the consumer behavior and act on that. So these are some of the key challenges the banks face, fintech companies face, and they need to turn these challenges into opportunities. Um, so one of the key things that I read, and when I interact with some of the business leaders in banking, is consumer behavior. Um, Consumer behavior has changed rapidly in the post-COVID era, and banks need to adapt and innovate optimally to make sure their organization succeeds. So I've listed down here 5 important points that banks need to focus on, to optimize the consumer behavior. The number one is frictionless and paperless onboarding. Nobody is going to use paper in the post-COVID world, and if you have to onboard a new customer, the experience has to be completely frictionless. So let's say I was reading a study in which one of the Middle East banks, they were saying that post-COVID, about more than 80% of the consumers that they have onboarded are through the digital means without any paper, and that's unprecedented, And the other important thing here is frictionless. A lot of things a lot of banks or a lot of institutions are applying digitization, but they're not applying it the right way. So if you are onboarding, if somebody is spending more than 5 minutes on a mobile application, to fill up a form, that's not digitization. You are faking it. So they need to take care of the experiences. A lot of the data is available online, and that needs to be pre-filled. And it should, otherwise people are going to drop off and they're going to go for a competitor. The other most important trend is the mobile first approach. We have been saying that mobile first approach should be the focus, but organizations have not implemented it. And now the amount of time people spent on mobile has increased tremendously in post-COVID era. And I think there was a research report by McKinsey, and in which it said that mobile is going to be the preferred channel. There is at least 20% more consumers that are going to go for mobile channels rather than phone banking or other channels to work to do their interactions with the banking. So there needs to be a mobile first strategy that has to be adopted by most institutions. The other thing which is very important in consumer behavior is that there needs to be a right mix of technology and human interactions. So you cannot you cannot go overboard on technology and leave the human interactions part. So there has to be right mix. So I'll give you an example. There was a chatbot launched by a leading bank, and but people were frustrated because somebody wants to say that I'm not happy, and then it said that uh, and somebody was really not happy with the particular thing, and there was no way out of the chatbot. And the consumer will just say, the customer just said that I just want to close my bank account. You're not good enough. You're not letting me through to that phone banking executive who could guide me. Technology could solve maybe 80%, 90% of the problems, but not 100%. So one of the use case that was discussed at that point in time was that maybe a chatbot should be intuitive enough that if somebody is not happy, and that they should let the consumer to the real person who can guide him. Not everything could be solved by technology. There has to be a right mix. The other point want to emphasize is people are going through stressed times because of COVID. There have been job losses. Organizations, companies have revenue degrowth. So in the planning, in their action, all the banking and fintechs, there needs to be customer empathy and support. That needs to be there, and a lot of fintech companies have responded. I was going through some of the initiatives taken, like companies like Square reduced fees, companies like PayPal, they offered in cashbacks and other things. There were a lot of things that companies have tried to do in this particular time, and but that's the need of the hour, because that's how you build long-term engagements and win loyalty with your customers. The last point is that there has to be a preference for digital channels and delivery. So the whole thing, the whole approach needs to be changed. One of the leading banks in India, the ICICI Bank, they're running a campaign right now, and with all their TV advertisements, that you are the branch, the consumer is the branch. There is no physical branch now. So they say that let's say John is the branch for personal loans. Somebody is a branch for credit card. So so that's consumer is the focus. There's no physical branch actually. So that preference for digital channels and delivery in marketing, all your planning, all your innovations that you're doing, that has to be the focus going forward. So these are some of the digital trends that I believe will be the future. The number one is, earlier on, there has been banking channels, and there has been fintech companies. And there's a lot of overlap between banking and fintech companies, and one trying to beat the other. But maybe the way forward is not one of them. Maybe way forward is collaboration between the two. A lot of their strengths are complementary. Uh, and I will mention this in a case study, which is by Googleplex, and that what we need to see how it evolves. Fintechs have technology know-how. They have agility. They can drive enhanced consumer experiences. Banks have tried to work on their technology part, but results have not been great. They're still being run by the processes have been very slow overall. And but banks have huge experience in dealing with consumers. They know the core banking. They have strong compliance frameworks. They have strong risk frameworks. So both these organizations can partner together, and it could be a win-win, rather than a win-lose or lose-win. The other point is artificial intelligence is going to be the winner going forward. 70 I was reading a research report which said that the 77% business leaders believe in banking that AI is going to be the game changer. If you see the past, you get emails, you get SMSs, and these are blanket marketing, that is done. Get a credit card, get a personal loan, get a particular insurance. All your interactions with banking channels are mundane. But going forward, it all has to be personalized. There has to be hyper personalization. That is where a consumer will feel connected with the bank, that they know me. So let's say if I call, if I log into a chatbot, and then I say that I have to explain for 10 minutes that what is the problem, or I've talked to a phone banking officer, it doesn't work out. Whereas I'll give you one example that if I have a problem with Amazon, I go there, and for the last order, if I say that it is not delivered, the first question that their chatbot asks is something that uh, is your problem with the last order that you did? Has it not been delivered? So they already understand my concern, and that brings a connect with the customer. So consumer experiences have to be personalized. AI and machine learning can drive those contextual experiences. Uh, um, from a research report again, as I said, a lot of people believe that AI is the future, but 75% also believe that right now the systems don't have that contextual expertise to help the consumer. So that opens a lot of opportunities to define the right experiences. The third most important point here is that companies need to leverage automation, and automation, the balance sheets have been stressed all across. If automation is properly implemented, it can save a lot of cost. Anyway, there one of the fintech influencers, I think Brett King, he predicted that in a few years, there will be a 50 to 60% reduction in physical branches. Now this with COVID coming, this thing may be advanced by 3 years or something like that. So automation needs to be there, and a lot of automation can be done to drive efficiencies, consumer experiences. Uh, bank, a lot of banks need to leverage concepts like RPA, and drive the right experiences. Now, coming to the most important point, which I want to say is we all believe that digitization is the way forward. But one of the major challenges and one of the major risks, that will be a challenge to overcome, and that can reduce the growth of digitization, is cybersecurity and privacy. Uh, one of uh, one of the articles I was reading, it mentioned that there has been an increase in 238% increase in the frauds, cyber frauds after COVID. because most of the people have been using banking channels, and a lot of consumers are first time users of digital channels, and hackers and fraudsters have been trying to make use of that opportunity. Uh, in March 2020 alone, 13 million people from Latin America, they used online banking channel for the first time, so banks and fintech companies, they need to invest in cyber security and privacy, but it is often seen that you cannot just deplete the consumer experience if you increase security. uh, it is I hear a lot of um, talk from people that it's like that X and Y axis, that if I increase security, then consumer experiences will go down, but it's not always the case. They have to be balanced together. We need to use innovative technologies like biometrics, and we need to pull data from like in India, there is a lot of information from global IDs like Aadhaar is validated when you do any banking transaction, or when you create a new account or something like that. So the focus has to be done, because if people don't feel secure doing their banking transactions, they're again going to fall back on the traditional channels. And in the last, I would like to go through some of the case studies. One of the case studies is Live by Emirates NBD. Emirates NBD is the largest bank in the Middle East, and they have launched a banking account which is called Live, and it is completely youth and and it's nothing like a traditional banking channel. I happened to visit a couple of times their workplace, and met a couple of the business leaders from this company, and so they don't dress like what traditional bankers would do, and their workplace is also all colorful and fun, and that is in their product also. It's completely app driven, from signing on to doing your banking transactions, and they have a completely paperless onboarding. It's completely digital, and you instantly get enrolled there. There's a transparent pricing. Anybody, any person can understand what he's getting. There are no multiple levels of pricing that are there. Then you get offers around you. Let's say you're passing through, let's say, Starbucks or a Burger King or something like that, any other merchant, you can get offers if you have, let's say, a Live account. And they also provide services like personal finance management. One of the most interesting things I feel is they have an AI based chatbot, which is Olivia, and it is available in multiple languages. And that's and it gives you contextual experiences. I will show you their website. You will understand that it doesn't look like a banking website at all. So just one minute. So if you look at their website, they're saying we're building a tomorrow's bank. This is on the right hand side. You see their application. It's all colors, and it's very happy. It's fully digital, transparent pricing. You get better interest as well. These are all the offers from Kareem, Papa John's, and other vendors. And as I said, this is their chatbot, Olivia, and both the look and feel, and the interactions, they are next generation. So definitely check out that. The other one is Imagine by Caixa Bank. That's a Spanish bank, and it's also a completely app-based experience. There is no fee or paperwork. It's completely app-driven. You can do your savings, you can do your investments, you can look at various things in finance using that. One of the unique things for in their application is that they allow banking for teens. So you can register to do banking if you are more than 12 years old. And the concept here is when you grow up in your teens, you learn the right money habits. You know how to do investments, you know how to do money management. And the whole concept is built in that particular way. I'll just take you through their site as well. So this is Imagine Teens. As I was saying, discover the app for young people, and definitely worth a look. And last but not the least, I want to give an example of maybe a fintech company plus banks. So Google announced in November 2020 that they are coming with something like a Google Plex, which is a mobile first banking account. So it may be a successor to something like a Google Pay. And the great thing to hear here is that 11 financial institutions are going to partner with Google in that. And they include, companies like Citi. They include credit unions like Stanford Credit Union. And so you can do banking with these credit unions and banks using Google mobile application. And it is going to be a new experience. Google says there is going to be no fees, and they will have no monthly fees, no overdraft challenges, no minimum balance requirements, which you see in typically most banks. And it's not only a mobile bank account. They will give you a personal finance manager also. They will have a peer-to-peer payments in that also. You will have non-banking services, like you can do a food order service from about 100,000 restaurants. So you can just use the mobile app, to order from these restaurants, and your money will be deducted from your bank account. You just need to do that action in your mobile app. You can do in-app gas purchases from about 30,000 gas stations. You can do in-app parking payments in 400 US cities. This is the start of maybe a fintech plus banking collaboration. And I think only time will tell where it will go. But definitely it's a very exciting first step. Right now you can get waitlisted on this. US consumers can get waitlisted on this with Citi or Stanford Federal Credit Union. And more details will emerge in the coming few months. So I think definitely a lot of interesting stuff happening. There have been a lot of challenges. It has been a tough time for most of the people, but as I said, challenges also bring a lot of opportunities, and that is what the banking and fintech companies need to leverage. Delivering the right consumer experience, a frictionless consumer experience, leveraging technologies like AI and machine learning is the key. Saying all this is one thing, but executing is another. So whoever does that, they're definitely going to have a huge growth going forward. That's what I feel. That's all I had in this particular session, and open to any questions, queries.
Shiv, thank you very much for sharing with us all these very interesting insights and updates. on the evolution of fintech and banking post-COVID, and for pointing out trends that are expected to dominate the market in the future. The rapid transformation we have seen during the past few months, it has been tremendous and very exciting at the same time. You spoke about key challenges, slower economic activity, changes in consumer behavior, the digitization of everything, making digital channels the primary way of doing business. And as you said, adapting and innovating is key to an organization's success. Great insights on digital trends of the future, AI, automation, cybersecurity, and also interesting everything you said about how a bank will quickly end up looking more and more like a technology company. And thank you also for pointing out some very, very fine real life examples. From Shiv, one question might be from a strategic transformation and implementation standpoint. How have you seen companies from within the financial services and banking sectors adjust accordingly to the new reality? In general, you've shown us some very fine examples, but would you be able to expand a little bit more with regards to what you feel actually has been experienced in general?
So one of the things have been that, traditional banks have been taken by storm, we have seen that, and their internal processes, are very different from fintech companies. Maybe something in a fintech company may get done in a month, whereas in a bank it may take 6 months, because they are so much prudent about that. But we have seen those things changing, and banks are now, changing their processes. They are bringing those innovations in. So definitely the role of CIOs, the role of CTOs now become much more important. And I've interacted with quite a few business leaders in that, and they definitely recognize that. How well they execute and how well they give that experience to the consumer is the key going forward.
And as you said, the role of the CIO or the CTO has become increasingly important. Would you be able to share some insights with regards to the different components and the different areas that should be in place for a company to survive in the new digital landscape? Would you be able to point out some of those key areas that need to be in place for a company to succeed in this environment, and expand a little bit more?
So I think a lot of banking companies, a lot of banks, obviously they can't do all these things by themselves, so they need to partner with technology companies, which they are doing, and it will also happen that they may have an alternative channels, So, for example, take the case of Emirates NBD Bank, so they have a traditional banking channel. And then they also have Live, which I said, which is completely a mobile app-based banking. So these hybrid channels, may evolve. And right now, maybe 90% banking gets done through traditional channels, and only 10% gets done through mobile app. But that percentage may change going forward. So it may be 50-50, and maybe, let's see, after 5 years, it could be 80% through mobile app, 90% through mobile app. So all these, I think a lot of these banks are trying various hybrid approaches, but execution is the key going forward. And I think my 2 cents is that they must not try to do the whole thing themselves. Maybe partnering with the right companies is the key. As I said, let's say some of the banks are partnering with Google. Maybe WhatsApp is trying to do payments now. So a lot of going forward, some banks may partner with Amazon also. So partnerships and complementing each other's strong points, that's going to be the key thing for success going forward.
Absolutely. And Shiv, thank you very much for your time, for the incredibly insightful presentation, and for your participation as part of the Leading Entrepreneurs of the World series. Congratulations on all of your success. Thank you, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thank you so much, Stelios, and it has been a pleasure. And thank you so much for providing the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Shiv.
Bye.
Bye.